Have you ever noticed that the more clearly you see the world, the harder it becomes to live in it? Not because reality is unbearable, but because once you begin to see the patterns, the illusions, the contradictions, it becomes nearly impossible to unsee them. And strangely enough, the more clarity you gain, the less you feel understood. You're not alone in that feeling. In fact, you're standing in the shadow of centuries of minds who saw too much and paid the price for it. From ancient mystics to modern thinkers, the pattern is always the same. Deep awareness creates distance. Not because deep thinkers isolate themselves, but because most people are terrified of what they might reveal. But why? Why does awareness, something so powerful, so liberating, often lead to loneliness? It begins with a simple truth. People don't fear being wrong, they fear being exposed. When someone walks into a room with quiet confidence and insight, it can feel like a mirror being held up, not to your face, but to your beliefs. And most people don't want to look. They'd rather continue the comforting rituals of everyday life, the same conversations, the same routines, the same unspoken agreements about what's normal. But the moment you ask, why are we doing this? The moment you question the foundation instead of the furniture, that's when the discomfort begins. Psychologists call it cognitive dissonance. It's the tension we feel when reality contradicts our beliefs. And instead of resolving it through reflection, most resolve it through rejection of you. Not because you're wrong, but because you dared to disturb the water when everyone else was trying to keep it still. We admire athletes, we applaud the wealthy, but when it comes to those who question the world, we hesitate. Why? Because intellectual strength doesn't flatter. It doesn't entertain, it confronts, it challenges, it reveals. The human mind is wired to seek certainty over truth, belonging over understanding. Our ancestors didn't survive by being the wisest in the tribe. They survived by not being cast out of it. And so even today, the primal wiring remains. Don't question too loudly. Don't think too differently. Don't risk being alone. But the tragedy is that those who do think differently often are alone. Not because they want to be, but because they see a world others aren't ready to look at. They question the value of ambition. They wonder why everyone's in a race without knowing where the finish line leads. They find little joy in small talk, not out of arrogance, but because they crave something real. And here's the paradox. The deeper you think, the more connected you feel to everything, yet the more disconnected you become from everyone. You begin to notice how often people speak without saying anything, how often beliefs are repeated, not explored, how often the pursuit of truth is replaced by the pursuit of comfort. But you continue, not because it's easy, but because you can't go back. Once your mind expands, it doesn't shrink. Once you see through the veil, pretending it's not there becomes the real suffering. So if you feel like an outsider, if the world feels too shallow for the depths you want to swim in, know this: you're not broken, you're not strange, you're simply awake in a world that's still dreaming. And though the path of awareness is often lonely, it is also honest. And in that honesty, there is something beautiful, something rare. Not everyone will understand you, but those who do, they'll feel like home. This is MetaMind Orbit, where we don't fear the deep questions, we live in them. If you've ever felt too thoughtful for this world, you're exactly where you belong. Welcome.